Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Eternal Flames. My name is Blaze. So, if you've noticed, we got ourselves a very interesting little setup here, and I've been looking at some of the older tutorials, especially for, say, like TerraFirmaCraft. For those of you who have played Minecraft, but not TerraFirmaCraft, you have no idea the changes that are in store for you. Not only that, but TerraFirmaCraft has got some pretty large changes as of recently, which will affect our new series and our new Let's Play. To better allow you guys to either A, follow along, or B, maybe jump in and survive and thrive on your own, here are a set of tutorials that I feel that you guys may enjoy to help you get along in the world. Keep in mind that these tutorials are for beginners or people who just haven't done that specific thing before. If you don't like this particular tutorial, feel free to skip ahead or maybe go back a couple steps. This particular message will be in front of all the tutorials, and we heavily encourage you guys to watch them if you want the help. If you feel you want to learn on your own, by all means go try to, or maybe you just don't want to listen to me. In that case, go take a look at the wiki, which we have down in the description below. Hope you guys all enjoy, and I guess we'll see you soon. Hello, and welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure having you guys. Okay, so last we left off, we managed to get some copper, and we got a couple of copper tools. Now, I've actually gone back and made myself another pickaxe, or prospector's pick, due to the fact that I kind of broke my old one. This one's fresh, and thankfully I was able to find what I was looking for with my old pickaxe as well. But we're going to go over prospecting today. So prospecting is done a couple different ways, but some of the better ways are kind of out there. Now, to start with, let's go with the prospector's idea of what's going to be the biggest surrounding idea. What you want to do is take a ceramic bowl and make a gold pan. Now, the gold pan is pretty much exactly how it sounds. You're panning for ingredients, materials. What you want to do is grab some gravel or sand, either one works, place it in a dry area, and then we're going to need moving water. So let's go ahead and dig up some water, or dig up some dirt. And now we've got some moving dirt. Using your gold pan, right click, and then click on a block area that has moving water. Preferably if it's going down. So let's do like this, and there. Oh, seems I must have miscalculated. There we go. And we want... something seems to be amiss here. Let's go ahead and dig one more down over here. And we'll dig this up right here. There we go. Weird. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. So if we click down here, we can actually extract from the gravel. But if you notice, the gravel went away. There's a small chance that every time you do this, you're going to actually get rid of the block of gravel and or sand that you're using at the time. It just means get some more and do it again. Now, as much, as this is a tedious process, it is going to rely on your prospecting skill, which you will gain by, well, prospecting. The more luck you have prospecting, the higher your skill will be, but sometimes you just don't get much out of it. This is actually a way to also search the local area for stuff like copper here. Now, we got this little bit of copper, and if we go to our prospecting, you'll actually see that I'm still kind of a novice, but I'm starting to get it. The higher my skill, the more likely chance I am to get stuff like copper, or maybe even gold and stuff like that. The more you prospect, the better chance you have of finding stuff. Now, here's the cool thing. It actually does a ginormous radius of the local area from the chunk you're in. It can go really, really far down, I think about 60 or so blocks, as well as it goes to the left and or north, south, east, and west as well. Basically searching the area for natural elements that are within it. So essentially what you're doing is you're also kind of gauging the area for what materials it has. The only problem is your prospecting level will also affect what you get. So there may be gold in this area, but since I'm really bad at prospecting, sadly I'm not going to actually be able to find any unless I'm really absurdly lucky. My chances are very thin. However, now we found some copper, how about we head back over to where we found that copper that one time? It's just over the ridge here, and if you noticed, I took a couple trees and cut them down so I could better make my way around. Now, if you remember correctly, this is where we found our last couple pieces of copper. Now, I've already had the luck of finding out where the copper is, however, I need to show you guys exactly how this works and kind of the best way to utilize it. You'll also notice there's a couple of other different forms of ore down here, and, well, we're going to ignore them for the time being, but for the record, they're over here, and some of them not so good. So keep that in mind that there are ores that are kind of useless. Okay, so heading over here, I've made kind of a tunnel, just looking around, and if I use my prospector's pick by right-clicking, small sample of native copper. If I go to another area, nothing of interest, and traces of gold, and traces of native copper. That means there's both around here. Now, thankfully, the prospector's pick will pick up stuff regardless of if you're good at prospecting or not. However, if you notice, there was a thing here that said, nothing of interest. There we go. This is what we call a false negative. This means that there is something there, but it's just not picking it up for some reason. As your prospecting skill gets better and better, this will happen less and less. So, keep that in mind. Now, we found traces in small samples, which means we're pretty far away. If we keep clicking, traces, large sample, very large sample. Okay, this is what we're looking for. Essentially, when you're first starting off, you want to look for very large sample and mark it. Now we're going to go a little ways deeper. Medium and large sample and very large sample of native copper. We're basically looking for it to no longer say very large sample. So what we might want to do is dig a little bit deeper. Now, because of the way I've been digging, it's kind of dangerous in here, so there is a good chance for cave-ins if I'm not careful. So we'll go ahead and we'll dig a couple blocks in. We'll say about 5, 3, 4, 5. Now I have to be very careful because cave-ins can occur, and this is a legitimate thing in TerraFirmaCraft. If you're not careful, the entire ceiling will come down. What you want to do is dig from the top down and try to avoid digging up if you can. Okay, now we've got traces. Medium. And then we're back to a very large. And so we're going to mark right in here. Take this torch. So we know over here the very large sample disappears, and just past that torch the very large sample disappears, which means somewhere in between these two is where our copper is. Essentially now what we want to do is we want to go very large. We want to actually dig this way. This is a technique known as triangulation. Triangulation, more or less, I hate those creepy sounds. Triangulation basically allows us to dictate what is an appropriate area for us to be able to work in. There we go. And if we use this again, nothing of interest, and still a very large sample. This could be a very large vein if we're actually lucky, but for the time being, let's just kind of dig forward. Now we're working a bit in the dark. Don't be afraid to throw down torches, but essentially what you want to do is you want to use torches or some other means or method to kind of mark where the samples end. Okay, we've got a large. That means we've passed up the very large, and that's actually what we want. Oh, hematite. Well, we'll save that for later. Okay. So gauging from this, we know that's an edge, and that's an edge, give or take. Now, over here, if you guys notice, I have a tunnel, but we kind of want to work from the middle of what we've got here, so we'll keep working from about here. And we're going to dig this way. Now, it's called triangulation because the idea is using a triangle, you can essentially get an idea of where you are. However, in this case, we're actually going to do something a bit more different and kind of gauge a different way. Now, we're just going to keep digging here for a little bit. And large, okay, we still got a very large sample. It seems like a gold vein has infiltrated our copper, which is not necessarily a bad thing. No one ever complained about having a bit of extra gold, right? Gold's still not the most useful thing in TerraFirmaCraft or Minecraft, but if it's useful, it's useful. Take it for what it's worth. Okay, and large sample, very large sample. So apparently this keeps going on and on and on. So we can assume that if we're really lucky, the vein is probably close by, possibly right underneath us. Very large sample, very large sample. Obviously this is quite a bit, so we're going to assume that the copper is about, give or take, here. Now we can go up and down, and that's essentially what we want to do. Is we want to kind of dig down a bit. Try never ever to dig up if you can help it, unless you really want to cave in. If you notice, we've been fairly lucky so far, and I'm kind of grateful for that. Let's dig this out, and boom. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've already found the copper, but it's always nice to kind of go through this process. We've dug around, and essentially we want to triangulate, but if we head over here, you notice I already have a tunnel. And here's actually the copper, as well as a little bit of the gold, which somehow intertwines. Judging from the way the vein acts, though, the main piece of the vein is probably somewhere under all this. So if you follow this, it'll probably go under there. Just keep in mind that your prospecting skills are going to take a little bit of time, and it could take forever to really find these veins. Sometimes you'll even waste entire picks and prospectors picks just getting here, which is kind of frustrating. The best thing you can do is keep at it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get some of this copper going, and I'm going to start gathering stuff up for the next tutorial. Also, keep in mind that when you actually dig stuff up... Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, that's the cave-in I was talking about. Oh, bother. Hopefully my stuff is still there. If we're lucky. Let's take a peek. How unfortunate. Well, there's my meat. Did anything else make it out? Oh, no. Well, that's the dangers of digging underground if you don't have the proper tools. Believe it or not, we actually didn't have the proper tools, and, well, these are the repercussions of my actions. This can happen, and it will happen to you if you're not careful, so do be careful down there, and keep that in mind when you go digging. Hopefully you won't make the same mistake I did and cause a cave-in. We'll actually go over a tutorial a little bit later as to how to prevent that from happening. In the meantime, I'm going to go get my stuff back. I'll see you guys next time. If you like this tutorial, feel free to give us a like. If you dislike it, well, hit the dislike button all the same, and let us know why down in the comments below. If you want to see a specific tutorial, why don't you go ahead and say that in the comments as well, and we'll see what we can do. And, if all else fails, I wouldn't mind if you guys actually hit us up and maybe hit that subscribe button. Let us know that we're really doing well and that you want to see more. If you don't want to subscribe, well, at least check out the playlist down in our channel. You'll find that we've actually got several tutorials that are very helpful, and hopefully you'll be able to get something from them. Okay, well, that's going to be it for me. Just remember, gold panning is for wide distances, prospectors pits can get false negatives, and you want to be kind of careful while digging, unless you enjoy being buried alive. Take care, stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh boy, what a mess.